On September 13th, 2014, the North Korean government released an extensive report detailing how North Korea has, in their words, the world's most advantageous human rights system. This report was issued in response to an inquiry published by the UN earlier this year detailing human rights violations reported in the country. To try and disprove these claims, the Korean report cites that their citizens have complete freedom of the press, assembly, and that they have the right to a fair trial and can vote. While North Korea points to these basic human rights being part of their constitution, there is plenty of evidence to show that none of these rights are being fulfilled in practice. Starting out by looking at Korea's freedom of the press, it's easy to see that there practically is none. The government controls all the media in the country and uses it almost exclusively to promote two things: political propaganda stressing political and historical grudges, and promoting the greatness of their totalitarian leader. With all that, and the fact that North Korea landed second to last on the World Press Freedom Index published by Reporters Without Borders, it is clear that the press in North Korea is anything but free. Moving on to the report's claim that Korean citizens have the right to a fair trial, we see another case of strict government control in places it shouldn't be. North Korea does not have an independent judiciary, meaning that the government controls the courts. This leads to biased verdicts that almost always serve the party's interests. Many inmates sent to labor camps are never told the charges against them and are never given legal counsel. Indeed, the majority of them never even have a trial, with the Peterson Institute reporting that only 13% of the 102 prisoners in their study having actually had a trial. It's this corrupt judicial system and the government's paranoia over espionage that has led to the imprisonment of an estimated 120,000 Korean citizens in labor camps. Of all the different human rights violations that North Korea is guilty of, their voting system has to be the most obvious. While they do hold elections every so often, the way they go about it ensures that there can only be one outcome. Each ballot only has one candidate on it, and every candidate belongs to the same party. Because of this, it's obvious the elections are no more than a formality, with 100% of the votes going to the only running party. They are also clearly government mandated, with turnout rates averaging around 99.97%. With how publicized and extreme Korea's human rights violations have been, it's surprising they are bold enough to put out a report that refutes that which we already have proof is going on. Perhaps the root of all this is that North Korea has a different definition of human rights than the rest of the world does. In the report, they state, "Human rights is internal affairs and it presupposes the assurance of state sovereignty. The right of the individual apart from the social collective is unthinkable." This clearly shows the Korean government's mindset, that the right of the individual is secondary to the power of the state, and therefore they can deprive people of those rights. And for the most part, the power of their state actually comes from depriving people of their rights, creating a vicious circle. It is because of these practices that North Korea is shunned and has become known as the Hermit Kingdom. They are a regime unlike any other on the planet, a government out of time, a spitting image of Stalinist Russia that doesn't fit into today's modern world.